Huh? You did? Guess I got one fan. Hey, look at that. $10,000 bill. Are you kidding me? If only it were true. So far today I've just picked up some bits, some little bits of copper and brass down there. Not a whole lot, but these are real nice here. These Rubbermaid tote lids. They're brand new. They've obviously never been used, and those are specifically the kind of totes I use. So that's actually a real good find for me personally. And I keep like my tools in these little ones, so I don't really use them lids, but those would be handy, you know. Someday I might have a use for them, so it's no problem storing flat stuff like that. So hold on that. There's some Zippo fuel. I have no need for that. A lot of times these boxes here where people like clean out their desk drawer or something, they'll be real nice boxes to find stuff. You know, there'll be like money in here and all kinds of stuff, but this one really doesn't have much value in it. These little Ford emblems are made out of an aluminum, so that's not bad. I might pick up another one of those. I might have a full pound. So there's a little piece of aluminum, little keychain, little piston or whatever that is. So, you know, you look down at something, you don't think there's anything in there, but you know, you start looking a little closer, you know, and I mean, this just looked like a box of garbage, and all of a sudden I got, you know, a pound of aluminum in my hand right there. So it adds up, that's for sure. A little flashlight keychain. So that's about it. A lot of times stuff like money will get stuck under these flaps and stuff. Anyway, that box could have been better, I suppose. But, got a little something out of it. Well, it looked promising there for a while. But that's it. Looks like we got some fishing pole action going in there. I see two of them. I'm gonna shut the camera off, and if they're any good, we'll have a look at them. I see a scooter handle sticking out of there too. I'll grab that stuff. Oh, I jumped in there, got them fishing poles. That bicycle, I'm just gonna leave in there. It's just a tin frame, and where I live, the price of tin is so low. It's just, it's just not worth my time and struggle and effort to, It just stopped me from going out and finding the good stuff, But if tin was up where it used to be, like 10 cents a pound or whatever, where I live, I'd probably take that or come back for it, later tonight or something, But it's just, at 3 and 4 cents a pound. That's like, that bike right there might be, like 90 cents, 80 cents maybe. But here's some good stuff. Both those poles had, they're perfectly fine. All the eyes are nice. Both the reels work perfectly. They've both seen very little use. It's obvious. They just need to take that dust and cobwebs off of them. And fishing poles like that, they always hold value. I mean, there's just no way around that. Regardless if you use them yourself or pawn shop or sell them online or in lots or about, just those aren't, those. One's a Shakespeare, one's a Zebco, so they're not like super valuable. But as long as fishing rods and reels are in good working condition, they're valuable regardless what they are. And then this little scooter here, the handle's a little loose. Actually, it's in pretty good working order itself, but I'm just gonna take that to the scrapyard. It's all made out of aluminum, but because it's got those tires and some steel nuts and plastic and stuff on it, it'll just qualify as aluminum breakage. and that's like 10 cents a pound. And it's just not worth your time to, you know, take all those nuts off and clean like that hinge right there. That's all metal. You know, it's just, it'd take a long time to clean that up. So I mean, if you could, if you really wanted to, you know, it's your time. You do what you want with your time, you know. But for me, I'll just take this straight to the scrapyard, be done with it. Yahtzee. This is that same dumpster I was at the other night where I got all those ballasts and those aluminum light fixtures and stuff. Where that building, where that dumpster was at least part of that building they've gutted, and then now they got rid of the big construction dumpster, and now they're just going through, and looks like they replaced the lights last week, and now they're taking out all the old window blinds, and these are all aluminum. And when there's a bunch of them in a group like this, it's a very nice score actually. You just, like these bars here are made out of tin, so you just cut these strings. It'll be a tin bar on the bottom and top, and you just cut these strings, and it's really easy to clean all the aluminum out of there. And that's actually quite a bit of aluminum. I mean, there might be a dozen, 15 of them suckers in there, so there might be even more under there, but I'm gonna shut the camera off and get these out of here. I yanked those out of there, and there was actually exactly 12, and the aluminum in these dogs is going to be about 2 or 3 pounds a piece, thereabouts. So we're going to call that about 25 pounds of aluminum. Yeah, when I give weights out like that, it's not going to be exactly right because I just don't know without a scale, but you know, it's just an estimate, you know, a fairly close estimate. So, but yeah, you know, and a lot of scrap yards will do things differently. Like I can just take those tin bars, I can just cut those off of there, and I can get you know, clean sheet aluminum for the aluminum blinds, and then the bars will be, you know, just the normal tin price. But you know, there might be some scrap yards that will call this, you know, dirty aluminum, and some scrap yards will make you like take these strings off of here for it to be clean, you know. And some scrap yards just don't care, you know, because they all send their stuff to different mills, and it's really amazing how different scrap yards really are. There's no uniformity, you know, I mean, just across the industry, you know, as far as scrap yards. I mean, the scrap yards just where I live are just really different from each other. And it sounded like there was just about an accident down there. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but anyway, so that's a nice little score there. Here at this car wash, and what do I find but 3 more dead ducks in the garbage. 2 of them are actually hens, so obviously a great outdoorsman's been at work again. I got a nice little load going here. Pulled up this dumpster, looked down there, I seen that brass faucet, a little bit of insulated, low-grade insulated copper wire. I reached down there, and sometimes I fall for this all the time. All that paint is actually wet paint. I just reached down there and grabbed that pipe just like that. So that happens quite often. So I can't really give you any tips for that because it's just sneaky. it's just something you don't see coming. You know, you just don't think it's wet, you know. I see tons of TVs like that. I just pass it up. There's not much I can do. I mean, there's not a whole lot of scrap value in it for me. I mean, there is a little bit, but it's just time consuming. I'm just on the fly generally, so yeah, if something like that was real close to where I lived, I might take it home, but I'm about 6 miles away, so I'm just gonna leave it sitting there. But for someone that can fix that kind of stuff, man, there might be a little industry out there for you. And now those giant microwaves like that, I used to mess with them when the tin price was up. I used to rip the motors out of there, and I bungee cord that thing to my tote. But hey, there's a little piece of aluminum breakage down there I'll get, and I'll take this cord off of it too. But I just don't mess with them no more. The prices are so low. Just you know, I'd have to make a special trip just for that, and you know, it'd be worth about $1.20, you know, $1.50. It's not worth it for me. But anyway, microwaves like that, those big giant ones are just you know, the price of tin's so low, they're just not worth it. So this is my kind of microwave right here, though. The little guys, you know, the normal size guys. That thing there is 2 or 3 times the size. I don't know if you can see that. It's a big giant. It's really not all that heavy. It's just big and goofy. But those are my kind right there. You know, I could turn it this way, you know, and just keep putting stuff in there and just keep going and going and going, you know. So it actually is, you know, add more volume for me, you know. So I never pass up them guys. It's ice cube tray, ice cube maker out of a freezer, and that gray part there is all pure plastic, or I mean all pure aluminum, and it's got a little bit of insulated copper on it. These are always nice little guys to find, you know. I don't mess around, you know, cleaning them and getting that aluminum off of there, but I just sell it for aluminum breakage. But and I suppose you could probably clean them up, you know, but I just take them in like that, be done with it. So I'll just put that in there for now. Put this bungee down here like this so it don't come sliding out. So that'll be a nice little deal. But yeah, those are a fairly common thing, though. They're valuable little guys, especially when the prices come up. All right, here's those 12 blinds I found, plus I added another one to make it 13. And I'm just gonna cut all the aluminum off of there. Just take all these strings off. That's not very time consuming. You can get it done pretty quick. You know, the scrapyard I go to, you can just see how easy that is. You just take those out of there, just do that right down there like that. But the scrapyard I go to, they don't make you take these strings out, so it makes it a lot quicker. You know, some scrapyards you might go to, they might make you take that out, but you know, just ask the guy at the yard what he wants you to do. You know, sometimes they come out easy. Sometimes they'll be, see, like this one, that one there. See, that one actually pulled out of there real easy. But sometimes they'll be manufactured in a way where they're knotted up, and you got to go through and just, you know, snip, 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 and this is a pain in the butt. But that one there happened to come out easy. But you know, that's some nice aluminum there. And so I got 13 of these, and let's see how much they weigh and how much I get for them. Yeah, the prices are real low right now, but you know, a few years back, these would be worth twice as much as they are today. So, but it's still worth good money though. I mean, let's see what time it is. There's Autumn Grace's bag of jewelry she's getting. Shipping that off to her today, getting that for free. She had to pay for shipping, but you know, if you guys ever see anything you want on any of my videos, just holler at me. I'll ship it to you for free. You know, unless it's a real expensive item, but even then I'll still give you you know, an awesome deal. But let's see, it's $2.49, and let's see how long it takes me to do this. I won't like go super fast. I'll just go normal speed and see what we're dealing with. All right, 3:02. So that was 13 minutes. Well, that worked out good, didn't it? 13 minutes to clean 13 blinds. So can't be much more precise than those numbers, I suppose. But yeah, I just have it all in here ready to go. You know, You know, cleaning stuff like this to gain money, you know, when you go to start getting into scrap metal and you start cleaning stuff up to gain money, you always got to be aware that, you know, this giant pile of tin I got here, you know, it has quite a bit of weight to it. So just leaving that stuff alone, I would have got 10 cents a pound without doing any work, you know. And now I've done work, and all that tin you see there has went from 10 cents a pound all the way down to 4 cents a pound. But all this clean aluminum has went from 10 cents a pound up to 30 cents a pound. But you always gotta be careful. You don't want to put in too much work doing something when you don't gain a lot of money. Now, if the prices were up for aluminum, if aluminum was 60 cents a pound, then it would be a no-brainer. But you know, I'm still gonna gain money because it's hard telling one-handed, but that feels like it's close to 30 pounds of aluminum, 25 pounds at least. So, you know, I'm still gonna gain money, but you know, if you're running short on time, you know, and there's no fault in just taking it in, you know, because doing no work at all, you know, you always gotta factor in that into your formula. So I'm gonna load all this up and get going. All 13 of those blinds left intact weighed 73 pounds, and for aluminum breakage it would have been 10 cents a pound, so it would have been $7.30. Taking them apart, all that aluminum sheet weighed 31 pounds. The tin called shred at that scrap yard is 42 pounds, so that equals the 73, of course. And for the 31 pounds of aluminum sheet and the 42 pounds of tin, the total was $11.92. So actually, tin has came up in where I live. It's come up all the way to 5.5 cents a pound. So that's a nice little rise here lately. That's really good news for everybody. And so if I'd have just taken it to the yard without doing any work, all that stuff would have been $7.30. The 13 minutes it took me to clean the aluminum off the tin, I gained $4.62. You know, so $11.92, $7.30. So I gained, but you know, $4.62 doesn't sound like a whole lot, but you know, it only took me 13 minutes. So during those 13 minutes, when I was working, cutting on them strings, I was making about $20 an hour. So you know, that's nothing to turn your nose up at. You know, I mean, but you know, just imagine if the aluminum was up to you know, 60 cents a pound, that basically would double that price, and you'd be making like 40 cents or $40 an hour, or you know. So you know, the price for aluminum is real low right now, and that's still, you know, that's still quite a little gain, you know. And it looks like aluminum's actually came up a little bit too. It looks like it's 31 cents a pound now, if I'm adding that up right. So that's a nice little uptick in the prices there, so that's good. Alright, there it is, all loaded up. I got all that aluminum stuff down in there, and every bit of that tin I have strapped on top of it. And I'm going to take a box of other stuff, I'm going to carry that on my lap. And it would be irresponsible of me to recommend to people to do this on a motorcycle. You know, carrying big loads like this, because it is very dangerous. And my experience doing it, you know, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but you know, it's just the truth. You know, the amount of hours I've done this, it's made me a professional at it. So, you know, that's no joke. This is very dangerous to do on a motorcycle, and it'd be irresponsible of me to not say that. As far as dumpster diving on a scooter or a motorcycle, you know, you just can't beat it. But you'd want to do it more, you know, use that vehicle like that to use a motorcycle or a scooter to go out and scout, you know, and then if you find big stuff to carry, you know, go get it in a car or a truck, you know. But because it's just plain dangerous, and I I just need to throw that in there because, you know, that's just, yeah, I don't think about it in those terms because I've just been doing it so long. That's just, you know, I know what I'm doing, I guess. You know, I really can't explain it much better than that. And, you know, I mean, for a novice rider, that's just, it's extremely dangerous. So, there you go. Yahtzee! Oh, so yeah, it's not aluminum wire, or it's not aluminum case, but see in there? See all that wire? That's all #1 insulated copper wire. It's all fully loaded. So even though that's a bummer there, it's not aluminum, it's tin, but all that wire in there is very valuable stuff. So I'm gonna snatch all that out of there. Hey, look at that right there. That's nice. If it works, that's a really nice scale. Look, it's still got the sticker on there and everything. That's really nice. I'm taking that for my own personal use. It probably just needs new batteries. But let's see. Yeah. Throw some rechargeable batteries in that bad boy. That's a nice. That's a classy looking scale right there. I'm gonna replace mine with that. That's glass. It's made out of glass anyway, so I can't scrap it anyway. So be careful with that, dude. That's gonna look nice in my bathroom. So, you know, scores like that, you know, stuff I'm not gonna sell, or stuff you won't sell if you do this. You know, you add all that kind of stuff in, and you know, the amount of money you can make really adds up. It's always good to see car jumper cables, although that's the real cheap kind, so those aren't all that great. But you know, it's still, cut the ends off there and it's still #2 insulated. But yeah, those are just real cheap jumper cables, but it's still valuable though. And then take some of this out of there. That's not too bad. Look at that. Oh, got a computer and a fan.
Call the cops. Yes.
All right.
All right. Woo.
So judging by my thumbnail and my title, you might have thought that, you know, the dangerous thing was diving in that dumpster or driving a motorcycle. But actually the most dangerous thing, well, I don't know about dangerous, but the most scary thing you'll find out there is other people. And that's just a classic example right there. You know, that person there pulled up and they just had a big smile on their face and thought it was hilarious doing what they were doing, and they realized I was pointing the camera at them, and you know, just started, you know, just went from you know, their great logic to just mumbling and then hitting the gas pedal and getting out of there as quick as possible with some, you know, just almost a deranged hoot and a thumbs up sign. So, you know, isn't it weird how a camera can just totally alter someone's behavior? But anyways, you know, just, you know, in any situation like that, you always just want to just leave. Just be polite. No matter what happens, just be polite and just leave. Because, you don't, stuff like that could escalate so quickly. That's almost similar to like a road rage incident. Although this wasn't that. This one person was just out, just literally was getting off on, abusing another human being. Basically, is what this person was doing. I mean, just the look on their face was just, bordering on deranged. And, I usually don't put people in my videos, but, you want to act like that out in society, then I don't have any problem with putting you on my videos. So, but in situations like that, no matter, regardless of what happens, even though dumpster diving is literally protected by federal law, even though all the law is on your side, just no matter what happens, just be polite. Just say, all right, I'm leaving, sorry, just diffuse the situation no matter what, and just leave. So I just immediately grabbed that computer and that fan, and I just left the premises, and I won't go back there for quite some time. I just avoid confrontations. That's just the best way to do it, And I just can't stress enough, if you go out and dumpster dive, this type of stuff will happen to you. And you will run into some very extremely rude people. And, just regardless of whatever happens, that's just rule number one, is just be nice and polite and just, defuse the situation and leave, because nothing's worth, anything stupid, You don't want to stoop to anyone else's level, so. It turned out this is only like a $20 scale, but I'm surprised it's that cheap, because it's just classy looking, isn't it? All made out of glass. It works perfectly. It's real nice. It's just real sleek looking. I really like it. But someone just threw it away. I mean, it's literally in perfect condition. Someone just threw it away because the batteries went bad. But well, I assume that. But